Okay, let me test this now. So this is going to be a recording of the Eiger healthcare pitch to the medical systems, healthcare systems in the US. For you, Virginia, just so you can have a look and listen to what I'm doing and what I'm saying so that we can walk through this later this evening if possible. Okay, so unifying the healthcare community. Let's move on to the first slide. If it works. Okay, so the first port of call here is to understand the problem in the healthcare industry at the moment. And we sort of looked and did some research into the healthcare communication and understood that escalating costs of providing patient-centric, value-based care was a huge problem, which also included initiatives that call for greater patient provider engagement, calls for more efficient workflows that optimize the technology included within the EMRs and also other integrated technology that the EMRs sort of work with. Movements of reimbursement models that incentivize prevention. So again, moving away from the fee-for-service model and moving into more of a fee-for-performance model so that the management of populations with chronic conditions becomes far more efficient, far more engaging, and far more patient satisfactory. Again, with the drive in chronic condition management underway, the current system is not set up to be able to carefully and efficiently manage these large-scale outpatient care and continue a higher quality level of service, which is what everyone wants to achieve. So the problem is, that's what the problem is. The next slide is about the solution. So how are we going to solve the problem? Eiger is a unified communications tool. And what unified communications is taking every single piece of communication that you can possibly need within an organization, within a community, and bringing it into one. We talked about how engagement, efficiency, and customer satisfaction, as well as a quality control, was a huge problem in the healthcare system at the moment, as well as chronic conditions management from a monetary standpoint. And the main problem around all of that is through the communication and connectivity between every single aspect of that system. So our solution, unifying every single piece of communication that you'll ever need, will bring all of that into one. It will connect every single pillar from patients to providers to professionals and connect every single aspect of them together. So the platform here, hold on, the computer's been really slow. So the platform here is an ecosystem product. So Eiger is a mixture of technologies from all around the world that are world-class in their software, world-class in their implementation, and world-class in their personnel. So, for example, the main aspect of this is one, Counterpath. The Counterpath is a NASDAQ-operated, NASDAQ-floated business. It was founded by Chairman Terry Matthews, who is the billionaire mogul behind Mitel Newbridge Networks, which he sold to Alcatel in the early 2000s for around $7.4 billion, making him one of the largest shareholders in Alcatel, which then became Alcatel-Lucent, which again is still a very, very big player in the tech space today. He received his big break when they won contracts with AT&T. So we're really dealing with here some of the biggest and best communication providers on the planet. So Counterpath develops the software for what we work with here at Eiger Healthcare, and it's all based in Vancouver. So in Vancouver, we have around 65 full-time developers constantly developing a roadmap, understanding how we can become better, how we can become more integratable, more flexible, more scalable within the communication space, and really unify everything that we can possibly think of when it comes to communication. So in the past, we've seen huge work with big financial institutions such as Citibank, Credit Suisse. We've worked in manufacturing organizations such as Bosch. Counterpath has had over 15 million clients. And when I say client, I mean the download. So 15 million plus downloads across the world of our service. So very, very diverse. The problems have been fished out. We understand implementation. We understand scalability. And yeah, it's a fantastic product that is really, really far down the line in its development. So that's Counterpath. That's a very, very big part of who we work with, and that is owned by Terry, who actually is also working with us from a board level as well. The next level is Dialogic. So we have a product. Our product needs other aspects of it to make it as unified as possible, and that is one of the things that we like to offer is the call recording. So we will record every single call that you will ever make within your Eiger unification process. That will be then sent to a database where you can access that via voice, via sort of phraseology, and search for anything that you've spoken about on the phone. For example, if a patient calls his provider, and that provider then does a consultation, or a little consultation before it goes back to the doctor, and they have a consultation about, for example, Warfarin or certain illness they may have, such as their diabetes or their current insulin plan, then in most cases that is not recorded and not auditable, not trackable. Eiger will quash that problem. It will solve that problem. It will take away that. It will enable the doctor then to go to that recording and say, pull up the 5-10 seconds or 30 seconds that the patient, the provider were talking about diabetic care or insulin management, something like that, and it will pull up those sections which those recordings took place. So integrating Dialogic's platform within Counterpath's platform has enabled us to create a really, really top service there. The next stage is Virginia Bershey Consulting. So one of the things that we absolutely pride ourselves on is that we're not bringing you a solution that is flippant, is just a new solution that we're trying to pitch to a big company. We're not that. We're a finished organization which has brought some of the world's best thought leaders in healthcare implementation and technology to the helm of our business, so that we can completely and offer you a full soluted service that is scalable and implementable without too much stress on your aspects. So Virginia Bershey Consulting is our consultation arm. All implementations of Eiger Healthcare will include a full implementation consultancy program with Virginia Bershey and her team over at their offices, and you will really be receiving some world-class implementation from the people that brought you the initial implementations of Epic. Virginia has worked in Kaiser Permanente for 25 plus years. Very, very experienced individuals, and I hope you'll agree that you'll be in good hands when implementing that technology. The next level is our Avalanche Enterprise. So Avalanche is the sort of brand equity arm. They will be building the plan for communication with your patients, making sure that you are communicating with brand equity standpoint. Avalanche is also one of the contract holders with Eiger Healthcare for Counterpath. So very, very, very involved with Terry Matthews, very, very involved with Counterpath, and really, really good part of that relationship. Wesley Clover is Terry Matthews' own business. He works with us via Wesley Clover and all of their technologies. They're a foundation. They have over 120 technology companies that they own. We work heavily with them to completely be adding things to our roadmap down the line. And then IPCO, it's what makes you guys take things to the network. It creates the connectivity. So the reason why I wanted to go through all of those different people was to show you that we have thought of every single thing that we could possibly think of to make sure that this service is the number one service for unifying your communications in your healthcare system. It solves every single problem. It's flexible. It's integratable. It understands the issues you have, and it solves those problems, with expertise, with support, and continued development in terms of innovation and how we want to grow this business as well. So again, before we move on, and we are an approach to unified communications that integrates technology into the way your healthcare teams work and provide care to patients and communities. Before we go on to the actual solution and we talk through the things that we can actually do within the solution, I want to talk a little bit about competition. So the competition that we have in the marketplace at the moment all do things well. So they do certain things well, but those things are limited because they only do those certain things. For example, here we've got Skype. Skype is a great company. It's Microsoft owned. It is a communications tool, but one of those tools that is very, very consumer orientated and is difficult to integrate into systems that is currently used in the healthcare industry. Amwell, again, is something that is medical focused, but only serves a certain purpose. It only serves the ability to have, it's a silo, so to speak. So it's something that serves a one-time focus for a video call or a WebEx or something like that, and it's not trackable enough to make this fully unified communication system within inside the healthcare system. Video, again, great technology, struggles to become more than just a silo. It is a one-time service. So these things are all great here, and again, Zoom US as well. So these things are all great here, but what they don't offer is a continued trackable, auditable technology that caters for everything. So they don't offer messaging, video calling, screen recording, call recording, everything at the same time, which is what Eiger does. So our vision is to change the landscape of communication within the healthcare industry by bringing instant value to clients from a productivity perspective, as well as a clear financial return on investment. A couple more people that we are looking at, for example, from a competitive space, is Healthify. Healthify is a very, very good company. Again, very, very rigid in what it does. It is more of a referral aspect based, so we could potentially actually work alongside what Healthify does. The largest competitor we've seen in our space is a company called DocHalo. DocHalo are a unified communications tool, but they do not offer the range of services that we will offer. So they do not offer the call, the video, they do not offer the call recording, the screen sharing, the file sharing, and the integration of web browsers within the application, so enabling you to bring in your diaries, bring in your systems, bring in your trackable stuff, so that you can really look at everything whilst you're on the communicating with your your patients or your providers or your professionals. So it's not as unified. So that's the reason why. And in reality, it's less cost as well. Eiger is a very, very finished tool. It's something that is very scalable and something that is low cost compared to a lot of these people. So in the last few slides, we worked through the problem, which we discussed was, around TCM, around management of communication, efficiency, engagement within the healthcare system, from patients to providers to professionals, the whole way through, and how you guys want to solve that problem by integrating a technology that, pushes the efficiency, but then also enables you to become more profitable, more and provide a clear financial return on investment, as well as engagement return on investment, which again I think we can all agree is equally as important in this case. So the functions that Eiger will provide to you, these are the kind of functions that will make us stand out. The next thing is instant messaging and presence. So patient and providers that can see who is available via their contact's present status. So they'll be able to see when their doctor is online, when their patients are online, when their providers are online, so that there is no longer any need for robocalling or waiting to see if someone comes online or calling them over and over again until they do come online. This gets rid of that problem. It understands where people are at that time. It then looks for the person, and it'll enable you to then communicate with them from a message perspective, video perspective, call perspective, file sharing perspective, screen sharing perspective, many different avenues that you can look at. The next level is high quality audio and video calls. So, Eiger's not just a tool where we're offering standard communication. We have integrated HD audio and video calls into our service, something that we are continually working on and making better. But compared to Skype, compared to Zoom, compared to Google Hangouts, compared to a lot of those people, the video calling on our service stands out massively. And the reason it does that is because we use a very, very efficient technology inside the soft phone to make sure that it locks onto the strongest bandwidth. It locks onto the strongest bandwidth that you've got. Our audio calls, for example, if they're on Wi-Fi and then they run data, it will jump between the two depending on which one is the strongest, making that the voice is pretty much guaranteed to work. So it's a very, very leading technology. And the good news is as well that many of our competitors will allow our users to just have one device. We allow users to have 4 devices simultaneously, so they can turn their computer, their desktop, their iPad, their phone, their anything into a phone that can be used as a phone from then on for calling and messaging. So conferencing. So one of the things we looked at is audio conferencing and video conferencing isn't something that necessarily needs to be done for more than 3 or 4 patients, for 3 or 4 people, sorry. So we created a video conference that enabled 4 people to come together, included within the service, at a very, very high-end quality call. So audio video conferencing between 3 to 4 people in Eiger users will be available to everyone, so there'll be no more need to use WebEx and presentations. You can do all those presentations via this because they can do all the screen sharing as well. So that gets the need to use any third parties for audio and video conferencing within the community, which is again something that we use very regularly, and I use very regularly as well, and it's something that is changed the way that we look at it because it can all be done in one place. The 4th thing is screen sharing. So when talking to patients, when having a conversation with patients, a huge thing that for engagement will be to show them your screen, for them to show you their screen, for you to show them your screen, as well as do video calling and at the same time share your screen at the same time. So you can do your video call and share your screen at the same time. That will enable you to really check in on what they're doing, take a look at their pill pots, take a look at everything that they're doing, what their preparation. Just make sure that they're on track. Make sure that they're for example, if it's wound care, if their wounds are healing up, if they're doing the dressings properly, if they are taking their drugs properly, if their plan is set up properly, everything. It can be done to just visually engage with that customer's experience so that they are feeling more engaged. It's far more efficient. There's less mistakes, and you know exactly what's going on, which is something that is auditable and trackable, which is currently not a thing in the healthcare system, as a whole. Okay. The next aspect is local call recording. So we will be able to either locally record calls and record calls onto that person's desktop, or we'll be able to record calls into a full network. So that means we can turn on the fact that either only you choose if you want to record your calls, or we can turn on network-wide call recording, which means it will send all of that data to a data center of your choice, or we have partners that can do that, but it will send the data to the data centers of your choice so that we can find the data, it's trackable, it's all there, it's secure in a place that's HIPAA compliant, that you can really, really make sure that no one is, and that means we can also then turn off the local call recording. So it's really interesting that, the aspect of that, introducing technology that will allow us to search through that call recording and understand, what it is our patients are doing, and then pass that information on to a doctor who then can search for that phrase, and find out exactly what happened when. So very, very exciting stuff. So some more functions are, we talked about the video, the audio, the messaging, the screen sharing. What I like to talk about is connected care providers. So making sure that everyone is connected across multiple platforms. This will create enhancements for further opportunities for collaboration, which I think collaboration is key here. So understanding how we can integrate new technology and how we can integrate this technology within what you've got to create a really, really connected set of communities within the healthcare system. One of those is multi-party audio conferencing. So we talked about video conferencing. We can actually do up to 20 community members within HD audio communications. So we can do up to 20 community members on a conference call. And then at the same time with collaboration, we can actually do up to 20 care community professionals with the screen sharing and sharing them our video screen, so that we can't see their video screen, but we can share them our video screen. And we're constantly thinking about other ways we can make that better. We've got some stuff coming out in the future as well, which means that we'll be able to do some video recording, so that you'll be able to record the video as well, which will be even more revolutionary. We're expecting that to come out in about Q2. And the next aspect, again, finally on the function list, is mobile browser integration. So this means that in your Eiger platform, you'll be able to integrate up to 3 web browsers. So for example, in my Eiger, I have integrated my Google Diary, I've integrated Google Spreadsheets, I've integrated things so I can track exactly what I'm doing, what's going on with my company at the same time, and not have to leave Eiger. So for you guys, it could be, for example, integrating mobile browsers that work with current things that you're tracking. Could be location services, could be location services, it could be anything anything that has a mobile address, we can integrate within the mobile browser, which is very, very exciting. I'm sure you'll agree. So at this point, we've gone through the problem that we feel is the problem. We've gone through, the build-up of Eiger, how it was there. We've gone through the competitors that are doing similar stuff to what we're doing. And we've gone through the real functions that can be integrated into your business. So now I want to sort of really, really hone down on the specifics, on engagement, on implementation, on scalability, on flexibility, and how we see Eiger fitting in within what you're doing over at XYZ company, to the point where we have built a full solution that can implement, scale, and get better and compound over time with what you're doing. So the first aspect is engagement. If buying a house is location, then providing healthcare is engagement. And that's something that a lot of systems forget. They're so focused on billables, so focused on keeping and growing their patient base, that they forget to realize that engaging with your patients is going to keep them longer, it's going to allow for more efficiency, and it's going to mean that you can seriously become a powerhouse in terms of your efficient billables, communication, engagement with your customers. So from a patient to provider engagement perspective, Eiger allows you to connect your patients and providers so that they can communicate easily and instantly via the instant messaging, audio tools, video tools. It gives them presence so they can track whether or not their users are online. So imagine a patient being able to see, my caregiver's online, or the caregiver being able to see, the patient's online. We also have push notifications so that the notification will come up on their phone whether or not the application is on or not, which means it literally turns their phone into a tool where you can see where they are and contact them at any point. A huge reduction in wasted time. Again, how much time is wasted waiting for people to communicate with you? Again, this is highly trackable billable time, with CPT codes becoming more predominant and more codes and more flexible codes being introduced in January. The CCM and the CPT codes are going to become highly predominant, and with more automation coming out in that aspect, the way the providers such as yourself can build those CPT codes is going to become easier, it's going to become more efficient. And to be honest, with the current setup of the US healthcare system, with a huge number of the $3 trillion that is spent on healthcare per annum on hospitalization and chronic and outpatient care, far too much of that section that is for hospitalization and outpatient care is spent on hospitalization. And if that is not moved on to outpatient care and transitional care, then there's going to be some serious financial implications. So the US government is going to be working hard to make sure that the evolution of how the billable times and CPT codes and all that fee for sort of performance stuff is tracked, they're going to make sure that happens. And it's going to mean that you guys have to be prepared and adaptable to make sure that is done in an efficient way. And Eiger comes in and makes sure that is efficient to the 100%. The next thing is mass recording of all communication between parties, and then decreasing readmissions, which again is a huge thing because of the cost of readmissions is very, very high. It doesn't look too good to the insurance companies if you're admitting someone and then you're dismissing someone and then they get readmitted. So provider-to-provider engagement, again, this is more community aspects. So we talked about patients a lot, but what about the genuine provider-to-provider? So this is communication between professional and provider or caregiver. This is huge professional engagement they get to see. They get to see whether or not their colleagues are online, increased communication, measurability, performance and quality control, reductions in communications costs. I, for a fact, have had personal experience with this, bringing in this kind of technology into an environment where people are account managing. They're constantly talking to customers, they're talking to people above them, talking to suppliers, talking to people that pay them, giving them a way to communicate with each other in a set place that's instant, that's trackable, that's very, very easily used, is phenomenal, and it generates phenomenal engagement results. We, for a fact, had a 36% increase in employee engagement with this tool integrated within our business, and that was just in 2 months. So we massively benefited from integrating the system within our business as well, to the point where that kind of engagement is now being seen and being used by some of the top employee engagement consultancy companies on the planet, are now using this product to give them an instant add value. So virtual clinics now becoming very, very predominant. We've seen during my time in the US last week, I spoke to a number of people that were working with virtual clinics, and that could be off or onshore clinics. I know that the people, the patients are often a little bit perturbed when they hear someone is offshore, and the fact that's the feedback. I see a lot of systems that are trying to do this in the US, but they don't have an efficient manner to do that, because paying for someone to be there 24 hours, 24/7 in a way that is they need to be on call, so to speak, is expensive. It's inefficient. It's really hard to track. And again, Eiger comes in and solves that problem. So with Eiger being a fully online and fully integratable tool that covers all aspects of communication, if a patient has a login and the providers have the login, they will be able to see exactly when the patient and providers are online. So you'll be able to keep everyone in one place. You can do a lot of this thing via texting, via messaging, via email, and via all of that initially. And then all of the stuff that can be done over voice can be done over voice. But what it does is it gives a very, very efficient way of tracking and getting in touch with people, to the ability where you will need far less people to manage far more patients, which is going to be a phenomenal way of reducing costs and giving you the ability to have a 24/7 virtual clinic in the US at far less cost than it would do if you were just using a normal phone system where one person would have one phone system and they'd be waiting for calls. Whereas with this, you can use all aspects of different communication to the point where you can be far more efficient in communicating with everything. Okay, so engagement in virtual clinics and all the functions are very, very good, but what about implementation? What about how does this implement within your business? Because I know that you get pitched regularly with technology, and you see all these different texts, and one of the problems is that they don't tell you how they're going to implement properly. And I feel that's something that is a huge focus for us at Eiger Healthcare, to the point where we've hired some of the world's best, or one of the world's best implementation and population health management consultants on the planet to run the implementation of our service within your healthcare system, and one of the most gifted technology implementers in the USA, and one of the first people to implement Epic within the US healthcare system, at the helm of our implementation arm here at Eiger Healthcare. So we want to create a service that doesn't just give you the technology, it gives you the implementation and the support alongside it. And that's really important to us because we want to give you a full service and have a long-term relationship with you, so that whilst we're solving problems, we're also creating a relationship that lasts a huge period of time that we can all benefit from, and it allows us to bring in and integrate new technologies within your business and make you guys better. So included within what we do, we're going to be giving you the expert consultation in all matters related to CCM and population health. This will be a personalized gap analysis and opportunity and assessment, which includes a complete cost-benefit analysis and ROI, a tailored and individualized implementation project management plan that's strategically created from key indicators identified in your organization's gap analysis. We'll be giving you a powerful and effective facilitation and project management skills using the best industry practices. You'll have a dedicated account manager, a single point of contact from the beginning of the implementation process to the end, with a goal of achieving specific ROI and quality benchmarks, and then a team accountable for monitoring your program's regulatory consistency, who will provide assistance in making modifications to technology and clinical operations, workflow redesign to make sure that everything is on track. So this isn't just a technology, this is a full service to make your CCM population health far more efficient, far more engaging, and far more cost effective. As another add-on, we'll be including within the product the physician practice education and training deliverables. So we'll be giving you a scope and risk assessment, budget and time allocation, personnel requirements within and outside the organization, workflow charting and process improvement, EHR reviews, training and curricular developments, CCM publications, training BHS personnel, and continual CCM program review. Now, I've left these two last slides quite texty, and there's a reason for that. I want to be able to send these to you so you can understand and read and understand exactly what you're going to be given alongside the technology. So if you do want those at the end, please do let me know, and I will make sure to send those over. But the people that were providing this, obviously Virginia Boucher Consulting, they are the top population health management and CCM implementation consultants in the world. Virginia, for example, here has 25 years of experience with Kaiser Permanente, leading initiatives that require physician officers and support staff education, specifically in the areas of CCM and IT solutions. Virginia, as our CEO of Eiger Healthcare, will personally oversee the entire implementation process to ensure that your CCM program obtains and continues to maintain program consultancy. And as your dedicated account manager, Virginia will lead a team of experts following the implementation deliverables and make sure that support is continued, for as long as we work together. So, with implementation covered, I want to move now on to the flexibility of what we do. The product is a unified communication technology. It's world leading. It enables you to connect every single aspect of your business and bring everything into one. The implementation is done by world-class individuals, world-class people that will implement this technology and work with you the whole way. So with the technology and the implementation covered, flexibility is now the main focus. So one of the biggest things here, before I move on to these points, is that communication is key. And that's not just communication from a real-life human communication standpoint, that's communication from a brand standpoint. Marketing is every single touch you have with any of your stakeholders ever. Marketing is any touch you have with any of your stakeholders ever, which means every single person that you ever speak to, ever see, has an opinion or is growing an opinion on your business. And that includes healthcare, which is something that a lot of people tend to miss, is that healthcare, these systems are still businesses. They still need to communicate with their customers, okay? So what our rebrand service will do, which means that we will literally rebrand this whole solution to your colors, your logo, to whatever you need it to make it look like it's a fully integrated solution within your business. We will integrate that so that whenever someone has a call on this phone, they will see your logo right in their face every time they use the product, which is going to be extremely lucrative from a brand equity perspective, from a goodwill perspective, and building a solid, consistent brand for you over at XYZ Corporation. The continual account management by healthcare experts will really continue to help you optimize your resources, achieve your goals, and obtain ROI, which again, ROI is a huge point for us. We want to make sure that we not only solve ROI from a problem standpoint, but we solve ROI from a value standpoint to our patients. We give them a better experience as a patient. We also give you clear financial ROI as well. We care so much about personalizing our technology to meet your individual needs that we've included these governing board experts in the field of population health management and technology innovation within the service. So we've included that within what it is we're doing. So as I said earlier, our platform, because of the relationships that we have with these different technologies, is extremely scalable. We can go from 50 to 500,000 users very, very quickly, to the point where, it becomes more of a infrastructure tool than something that you need to worry about from a scale perspective. So we will be working with you, and that is exactly the reason why we've included implementation, included training to the level we have, so that we can make sure that we can scale to a level that we need to scale to very, very quickly and efficiently in a way that continues to deliver the level of quality that is necessary. 15 million plus application downloads of the service have been downloaded globally, which includes integrations within banking corporations, manufacturing organizations, construction industries, again, some healthcare work, but more from a communications aspect, an outbound communications aspect. And also our APIs mean a simple integration into your system. So we can integrate the service with into stuff. We've done integrations with into Salesforce before. We've done integrations into internal systems before, into platforms. And we have proven experience that this works. So proven experience from a scalability aspect. We're not coming at you with a new technology. This technology is here. It's there. It delivers. It works. And we're offering the implementation aspect as well, which just makes it far better. So we're looking for a pilot. We're looking for a pilot that not necessarily means we just want to stick it in your company and see if it works. We want to solve a problem. We want to solve your problem and add additional value on our dime. So we're looking for a pilot that is around a problem that you may currently have. For example, are your calls being recorded? What is a problem that's happening within your business at the moment? Let us solve that problem over a pilot, provide the additional value, and let us solve that problem on our dime. Why? Because we really want to help you unify your healthcare community. We want to help you change the landscape of how your patients, providers, and professionals communicate. We want to increase your productivity and efficiency. We want to create clear financial return on investment before you commit and improve health outcomes and quality metrics for your population. So we're here to not only provide clear financial ROI, we're here to completely change the way that your patients, providers, and professionals communicate. And that is why pilot's so important to us, because the reason why we want to do a pilot is we want to solve a problem so that you can see that we're here to help, see that we can deliver that problem solving, and then scale to your whole healthcare system in time and become the communications part of your business. Why would you have a pilot with us? And the reason why you'd have a pilot with us is, one, we solve problems. Two, is clear return on investment. One, CPT code reimbursement. We talked about this earlier. Huge focus on this in the future. Communication within CPT codes allows for every 20 minutes of communication of $42 reimbursement. That communication does not have to be over the phone. It can be via messaging. It can be via email. It can be via video. It can be via all this kind of stuff. And what we enable you to do is keep all of your CPT code communication within inside one place, meaning it's trackable. You can see exactly what's going on. It will likely increase the amount of communication between patient and provider, which leads to higher levels of CPT code reimbursement. That's from the phrase, if you start measuring something, it will increase. What we're starting to do here is measure communication, and that it will increase. Two, lower communications costs. Eiger is a very integratable tool that is low cost compared to what it delivers. Lower cost than its competitors, and is lower communication cost than any system, phone system that you've currently got within the healthcare system. Three is reduced readmissions. Four is increased communication. Five, a business part, lower patient turnover. It's actually 8 times cheaper to keep a customer than to buy a new one. So we talk about buying customers, is when you're doing marketing, you're spending $1 to get one patient. It actually costs you 8 times cheaper than that to keep a current patient than it is to buy a new one. And that's an average across many different industries. We're going to increase the engagement between all users. This is auditable, trackable, and secure data. It creates brand equity via the rebrand, and it's flexible and integratable and provides low implementation costs. So we're here to integrate within technologies that you're currently implementing. We can integrate within them. We're here to integrate into your healthcare system, and we're here to solve problems. So how we best work is you tell us your problems, the situations that you're currently having from a communication, engagement, or efficiency standpoint within your business, and then we'll see how we can solve them. We'll pilot that problem solving and then come up with an implementation that allows Eiger to become the communication system for your company and solves all those problems at the same time and simultaneously. The future is with telemedicine, is with digital communication, is with increased transitional care, increased CCM that's done in a digital manner. That is the future. We're bridging the gap to that future. Many hospital systems, many professionals in this industry see that as being the future, but there's a gap for now. We've got to slowly get there. what we've done is created the solution via the different technologies that we integrate within one another, as well as the implementation expertise, as well as the training expertise, and as well as the people above us that have the experience in creating scalable organizations to create this service for you that is ready now. So if you're ready to jump into the future, ready to create and digitalize the way that communication and transform the efficiency and engagement between your professionals, your providers, and your professionals, your providers, and your patients, then tell us your problems. Let's get a pilot underway, and we'd love to see the results of how we can work with you in the future. Just want to thank you so much for your time. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I'm happy to take any questions now about what it is we do and how we can help you further. Right, Virginia, that was 40 minutes, so that's plus or minus 40 minutes. Probably going to be a bit quicker in the presentation. I'd like your feedback if you possibly can. I think that maybe we need to turn around the front initial slides, because I think I didn't tell them enough about what the service was before we went into the ecosystem and about competition. Let me know your thoughts on that. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.